welcome to Excelsior from Common Room Radio. I'm Sarah K. Bazan, and some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
I'm Alistair Stevens, and disposing of a pre-atomic submarine to persons who don't even leave their full addresses. Good day, Admiral.
And I'm Vinton Bain, and don't be put off. Underneath this garb, we're perfectly ordinary Americans.
Well, two of you are.
And today we're doing, what is the actual name of this movie?
Batman the Movie.
Batman the Movie.
The Movie from 1966. This was produced as a joint venture with the first season of the TV show in order to defray some of the costs of producing a superhero TV show in the 1960s. Mm-hmm. So by the time that Batman the Movie had come out, we'd already had the full first season of the show. That show would almost inexplicably continue to air for 2 more years after this. And yet leave a huge mark on superhero culture, on pop culture in general. Mm-hmm. I can't think of anything besides maybe the original Star Trek that has been referenced more often, parodied more often, basically poked fun at more often than Batman.
And I think this movie fully deserves it. You guys, I don't want to tip my hand or anything, but I think this movie's kind of dumb.
So we're going to do a quick intro bit where we're going to talk a little about the background to the movie. Then we're actually going to watch the movie, but we're going to watch the movie at 1.5 times speed because, you guys, this is a long movie and it is paced like a movie from 1966, which is to say that everything takes forever.
It takes a million years.
Every single thing takes a million years. So we're going to watch it at 1.5 times speed. You can watch with us if you have the means to do so. We will call out play, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
But if you're not equipped to do such a thing, then probably don't try and watch along with us. It'll just be confusing. Before we get to all of that, though, let's flip over the back of the VHS box.
Holy ridiculous riddles, Alistair. The back of this VHS has a riddle. What travels the 3 C's with double D's?
3 C's. Campy, comic book, and comedy, of course.
But what about the double D's?
Well, that could only be the dynamic duo.
Precisely, old chum. And that can mean only one thing. Make sure to bring your bat label maker, and don't forget the shark repellent, because the Cape Crusader and the Boy Wonder are here to fight the most villainous crime of all. Wearing face paint over a mustache. It's a fishy puzzle and the perfect joke as an evil foursome tries to take over the world. Stay hydrated and stay vigilant because some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. It's 1966's Batman the Movie.
Oh boy.
From now on, can you just call me old chum? I'm kind of into that. Quite a lot, actually.
I'm into it, yeah.
So we all gathered together to watch this last week, I guess. Mm-hmm. Sarah, that was your first time seeing it.
Yeah.
I've seen this thing 100 times. Vinton, you've seen this thing 1,000 times.
Yeah.
We know it backwards.
We've got a really
Sarah,
good spread here.
I guess that means that your perspective is the most valuable.
Is it?
What do you think of this movie?
I think that this movie is very silly. The pacing is way too slow. I don't like this movie. I didn't enjoy watching it. I did my best. I think I chuckled a couple of times, but just overall, I mean, I now live in an age where we take superhero movies seriously, like really seriously. And so I want, I want drama and intrigue, and I don't want shark repellent, and I don't want people launching into exploding porpoises. And I don't understand this film. I don't know why it's happening. I don't really know. I don't know. Honestly, I was telling Nathan this as I was getting ready to come over. I think I would rather watch Suicide Squad again.
Harsh criticism.
I know.
I've seen a leaked script for Infinity War, and let me tell you, there are a couple of exploding porpoises in there.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Marcus and McFeely, they've obviously been inspired here.
Clearly. Yeah, all right. Well, fine. Okay. If Cap, rides the backs of some exploding porpoises with his dark and sinister beard, then I'm in. But until then, no.
I think that this is the best Batman movie to date.
Really? Even better than the Lego Batman movie?
That is
really
maybe not better than the Lego Batman movie. Let's be honest. The Lego Batman movie is pretty good.
It's really
solid.
fantastic.
But I would rather watch this Batman movie than any of the Batman movies, I think.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, Sarah, that you said that, we live in an age that takes superhero stories seriously, superhero movies specifically seriously.
Perhaps too seriously.
Perhaps too seriously. I think that's fair criticism. I'm surprised when I watch Batman 66 that we play it as straight as we do. And I think that in the years since this show aired, we've kind of retconned that into a kind of campy, ironic, hipster sense. No. We knew it was goofy, so we're making fun of it. But Batman's just a really good guy in this.
Yes, and I do agree with that. And I mean, I think that this movie could be charming And it probably is charming, is the thing. I just don't think that it's for me necessarily.
No, I think that's
yeah.
completely
I'm not
fair.
certain that this movie hits like any of my primary values.
There are really, because there's only one female character in the entire movie.
Oh, yeah.
Plays the damsel in distress and the villain.
You want to
Yeah,
double
it's-
up. You don't want to pay two actresses. I mean, come on, let's
Oh,
not go
geez.
nuts.
All right.
Not with the face paint budget for the Joker. There are things about this movie that I really, really enjoy. I do think there are like observable, demonstrable problems with its pacing in particular. It does just take forever, which is so weird because the TV show is fast. It is zippy.
Yeah.
They do so much in
Yeah,
relatively
that's
short
true.
episodes. And this feels as though it's a classic example of getting everything that you want and not knowing what to do with it. Now they've got the money, now they've got the time, now they've got, this amazing cast with 4 villains, all of whom are, I think, skilled or relatively skilled actors in their own right. They're not all appearing in the same movie, but you know what? That's fine. It was fine for Suicide Squad. It's fine here too. I think that there are problems with it, but yeah, this speaks to me. I'm charmed by
I'm
it,
so glad
despite
that it
myself.
does. Okay.
We're going to win you over. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about
Oh,
it.
I hope so.
So Vinton, take us through some background information on Batman the movie.
Okay, well, this movie was actually made or thought of first to promote the TV show. They thought that they would release the movie. This would get people into the idea of there being a TV show and drive that. They actually didn't end up releasing the movie before the TV show. They got the TV show greenlit really quick, and they were like, okay, let's just go ahead and do that. They put out the first season of the show, as you mentioned, then put out the movie, and that did drive up sales. But actually, then they sent the movie overseas to promote the show overseas, and apparently that did really help them. That really got people into the show overseas. So it did actually become a really good marketing tool.
It is interesting watching this next to watching episodes of 66 because it is just so much more cinematic. It's just in the proper format, and it feels like they poured a lot more time and attention into it. So there's that, at least.
Yay. I'm sorry. I promise to be way more enthusiastic. It's just,
Your natural enthusiasm will overflow. It's
it
gonna be
will.
just
Yes.
fine.
Yeah. It'll be good.
If anyone is familiar with the show, they will know that this is not the Catwoman from the show. This
Yeah.
in the show we have Julie Newmar, but she doesn't appear in the film because she was already signed on to do another project by the time that they were deciding to do the film, and had informed her that they were going to be doing the film. So instead, Lee Merriweather was cast, and she wasn't actually cast until they were pretty close to the end of filming everything. So as a result, Catwoman doesn't appear with the other villains in the first scene.
Yeah.
And then they had to do some other reshoots where she's on her own doing things because she didn't come in until way later.
Right.
It's a movie produced on a TV time schedule, which is
Bizarre.
fantastic.
It's the little movie that could.
Yeah. See, that's it. Now we pitch it as an underdog movie. You'll be into
Okay.
it.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, we'll see.
One of the interesting things that's not really necessarily about the movie, but I really did want to share, is that the producer, William Dozer, is known for making the Batman series, also narrating the series, also narrating the Green Hornet series. But most notably, what people don't know is that he co-created Barbara Gordon as
What?
Batgirl. Prior to the introduction of Barbara Gordon in the comics, there was a Batwoman, and her sidekick Batgirl appeared in publications, but they were just like really one-off, no backstory, no nothing. And then there was a Batgirl who was had no bat properties whatsoever, was really just like an annoying girl Robin for a little bit there. But the executive producer, William Dozer, suggested that this new character would be Gotham City's police commissioner, James Gordon's daughter, and she would be Batgirl. And then, of course, artist Carmine Infantino then came up with the design for this character, and they were introduced in the TV show and the comics simultaneously.
Oh, that's so interesting.
So the third season of the Batman TV show introduced this character, actually. So it's kind of a character that was introduced in the TV show first, but at the same time, actually,
No,
this time,
I
rather than
think it kind of
switching
certainly
over.
developed for the TV show
Right,
first.
that definitely developed for the TV show because they were wanting more of a female audience for the TV show, and that's why they
Okay.
really pushed for that there.
And this is probably beyond the scope of this podcast, but there was a huge amount of reflexivity between the TV show and the Batman comics that were coming out at the time. They were very much in a dialogue with each other and wanted
really?
to kind of unify this notion of what Batman was in 1966 and wouldn't be for very much longer.
My only other comment before we get started is it's funny that the music in this movie is created by Nelson Riddle. His last name's Riddle. Nice little factoid there.
What an enigma.
I do want to talk a little about the writer of this movie and the writer of most of the TV show.
Right,
Actually,
yeah.
not a credited writer for most of the TV show, but he developed
Lorenzo.
the TV show, Lorenzo Semple
Yeah.
Jr., who is perhaps most famous. He had a really good period in the early 80s, where in 1980 he wrote Flash Gordon, and then in 1983 he wrote Never Say Never Again. So he's like a serious writer who has produced movies that are arguably much more successful than the Batman movie, though I think it's fair to say that Batman 66 is probably his lasting contribution to the pop culture landscape. Vin, we mentioned earlier that we love the Lego Batman movie here at Excelsior, and the Lego Batman movie is singular because it credits as the creator of Batman Bill Finger. He's not credited here
Nope,
in this.
This was way before.
It's a pretty sad story. Can you like encapsulate that story?
Yeah, so Bill Finger was kind of co-creator with Kane, and really a lot of people say that he was the one who created the essence of what Batman was. So Kane had some ideas and pitched the idea, but but Finger was the one that came in and really developed the character and said this is who he's going to be, and he changed the color scheme. For instance, like there's promotional posters for this particular movie. I can't remember the colors now off the top of my head. I think there's in my notes. We'll get to that. Where Batman is colored like weirdly, and people were like, "What is that all about?" It's because those were Bob Kane's original colors, and Bill Finger was the one like, "No, that looks weird. Let's not do that." And he changed a lot of things like the logos and different things like that. And so, really, when you look at the notes and the history, Bill Finger was the one who developed Batman as we know it today. And if it was just for Kane, he would be nothing like who we know today.
That's really interesting.
And this was unknown because he wasn't the one getting paid by the comics companies. He wasn't the one signing the contracts with the comic companies. So therefore, Kane was just like, yeah, you just keep on drawing all the work for me, and then I'll sell it to DC, and we'll make a lot of money off of it. And back in those days, of course, they didn't know about rights. They didn't know about how the comic industry was going to become and how they were going to get basically screwed over in a lot of ways because the comic industry was going to go, hey, we own these characters. Thanks for doing that for us. And then as time went on, of course, Kane's name gets put on everything. This is back in 66. So, of course, here, but all the way up until the 80s movies, his name's still getting put on the films. And then comes along this guy, and I really can't think of his name right now. There's a documentary out there about it, and it's fantastic. But this journalist finds out about this, and he starts researching it, and he says, yeah, this isn't right. This Bill Finger guy did all the work. And there's audio recordings of Bob Kane admitting this, that he did all the work. So he's like, we got to fight for this. So basically, you go watch the documentary. I can't remember the whole story, but he fights for it.
Yeah, this is writer Mark Tyler Nobleman in the Hulu documentary Batman and Bill, which I highly recommend.
Yeah,
It's
he wrote a
extremely
book
good.
about it where he found an actual descendant of Bill Finger, which they didn't think was possible. They didn't think there was one because he was actually a gay man.
Oh, okay.
But it turns out he did have a daughter. They ended up being able to track her down. And they actually get it to the point where DC starts inviting her to the premieres of like the Dark Knight movies, the Christopher Nolan movies, but then sends her a letter and it's like, hey, just sign off on this thing. We'll send you one big check and then you'll be done with it forever. You'll never have to worry about us again. And Bill Finger's like, hey, no. They're trying to get it to where they'll never have to pay you again for anything and not credit you for anything. We need to fight that. So they ended up fighting it. They ended up getting his name put on, I think the first one was Batman versus Superman.
I think it may have been.
Bill Finger finally shows up on the credits, and they all went to see it, and it's really touching in the film. And so Bill Finger is now an accredited name that's in all the Batman comics, put on there as co-creator, and it's a really heartwarming story.
Long
really
delayed
great.
justice, but justice nonetheless. And with that, let's get into our movie watching. We are queued up to the 20th Century Fox logo. If you can watch this at 1.5 speed, if not, then hey, just follow along on a riotous journey through an hour and 45 minutes of the best camp comedy that 1966 could offer. Here we go. So, Vin, you watched this a lot when you were a kid?
Oh, I watched this way too often when I was a child. I think I wore out multiple VHS tapes. My mom and I would watch the TV show whenever it came on. I love the TV show. I love this part here where it's saying lovers of adventure, lovers of pure escapism, unadulterated entertainment, fun lovers everywhere. And they show the couple that they're making out. And it says, if we have overlooked
right past it.
any other sizable group
so
of lovers, we
cute.
apologize. But
That's a pretty good iconic logo.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
One of the things I really love about this movie is that it really can reach any generation. So for kids, this is just Batman. They're really into it. And like, yeah, Batman's beating up the bad guys. For adults, everything's like tongue in cheek. It's like, oh, that's funny. I see what you're saying there. Oh, that's slightly sexual. Okay. And especially in the show, there was quite a lot of that adult humor that gets missed often. And then there's just absurd situations that you get in the 60s. Like the first episode of the TV show is Batman going to a nightclub and dancing. And he tells Robin, you can't go in. You're too young. And then he goes in and he's like, I have to be inconspicuous. He's wearing the full Batman garb and starts dancing in the middle, and everyone's just staring like, that's Batman trying to be inconspicuous.
It's a classic 60s extended opening. We've got these highly color saturated shots across the city. Occasionally, Robin punching his fist, which he does a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just, he's
punching
being
his
very
fist into his hand, I suppose.
intimidating.
Technically not punching his own fist. That would be weird, but yes. And some nameless guy just running away as he's followed.
Which we
by the
never
squad.
find out about that dude. Like, we learn nothing about this man.
Nope.
He gets away.
He represents evil as a whole.
Oh,
Yes,
I see.
Yes.
Injustice as a whole.
It's a pretty great cast here for the villains, too. Cesar Romero is perhaps the most well-known.
Right.
His career started in, as I scroll down his IMDb page, his career started in 1933.
Wow.
And his last performance was very, very recent. His last performance
Who is
was in
that lady
1998.
sitting on the lawn of Wayne Manor?
That's their aunt. Introduced for the TV show to diffuse any allegations of potential homosexuality in the 1960s.
They introduced an aunt?
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, we're leaning away from that is the thing.
So you have here the coolest Batmobile, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. I
it's
love this design.
Pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
The creator of the Batmobile was once on a publicity drive. This is in the special features of the DVD. And he was arrested because the Batmobile didn't meet the requirements for a road safe vehicle. When in the courtroom, the judge told the officer that arrested him that this was the creator of the Batmobile. How dare you arrest this man? And he says, before the end of the day, you're going to be demoted to a dog catcher.
Wow.
And we have the Batcopter.
Yeah, here with the bigger budget for the film, you get a Batcopter.
This is
Which is just, I love the conceit that this is just kept at the local airport. And
Right.
Batman has to call ahead from his car,
Yeah.
advanced technology right there, in order to have the Batcopter prepared. I'm kind of into that.
Yeah.
Now,
Movie
what
is
you
ahead
can
of
see
its time.
throughout this sequence is that neither Adam West nor Burt Ward could fly a helicopter.
sure, yeah.
So these are
Here you got your rooftop
two
babes.
helicopter pilots
Rooftop babes.
who do not look a lot like Adam West and Burt Ward.
Oh boy.
Which perhaps wasn't a problem back in the day, but when you're watching this on the Blu-ray transfer,
Right.
Yeah,
The officers all putting their hats over their hearts.
gives a fella a good feeling knowing they're
sure
up there
does.
doing their job.
sure
Wait,
does.
is that their job?
Is their job just to soar
Is
around
flying
in the
around in the
Batcopter?
Batcopter? I love too that they're going out after this. They're going out after this ship. We know they have a Batboat. It will appear later, but no. For this one, we'll take the Batcopter. Thank you.
And drop down from the bat rope.
Yes, of course.
Oh my god.
The adequately
this movie.
labeled bat rope.
Properly
Bat ladder?
and efficiently
Bat ladder. I think
labeled.
it's bat
Bat ladder, yes.
Listen,
Wait,
you've
I
got
think it might even be the bat rope ladder. We're going to
Bat
see it.
rope
in just
You've
a
got to
moment.
label
There it is.
We're about
everything.
to
It's
find
really
out.
important.
Yeah,
Bat
bat
ladder.
There it is.
Oh boy.
There it is.
Do you think that, like, in the refrigerator in the kitchen of Wayne Manor, there's like
Bat
bat
mayonnaise?
mac and cheese,
Yeah.
bat
Yeah.
bologna, bat mayo?
Yeah.
No, because in the kitchen of Wayne Manor, they're masquerading as Bruce Ward.
Oh,
as
Bruce Ward.
Bruce Ward.
yeah, Bruce Wayne and his young ward Dick Grayson.
So it says things
So it
like
would say Bruce's mac and cheese.
Bruce mac
There's
and cheese.
There's a fruit bowl, and if you tip the banana, a second fridge appears, and everything inside that fridge is labeled bat mayonnaise, bat banana,
Bat mayonnaise.
whatever, you know.
Okay, can we just spend the rest of this podcast coming up with the best puns that we can think of for things that you would find?
Oh, I mean, bat mayonnaise is pretty good.
Batman is pretty good. Pretty good.
One of the interesting things about Robin in the TV show and in the movie here is that Burt Ward was not hired to act. They specifically told him not to act, but just to be himself because they loved his naivete that he brought.
Yeah.
And they thought that he embodied who they thought Robin should be.
I think that is the thing that redeems Burt Ward's performance. And I've seen Burt Ward in other things, and he's a better actor than this.
Right.
But I actually really like the genuine enthusiasm that he brings to
Disappearing
Robin.
boat.
It's pretty good.
And we have the shark.
Oh
And
my
the shark.
gosh. It was
The
about here
super
first
convincing
watching
shark.
this when I was like, I'm out. I can't with this anymore.
When I first saw this,
Yeah.
the very first time, and I saw this shark grab on the Batman's leg, and I said, who could have put a shark on Batman's leg like that? Oh, he's pulling his leg. It must be a joke. It's a Joker. I got it. Nailed it. Little 5-year-old me was just...
That's it.
That's it.
shark
Nailed
Maybe
it.
is
we've
pulling his
misunderstood.
leg.
Maybe the logic of this film is just 5-year-old logic.
That has to be it. This is a 5-year-old fanfic, is what this
Because
is.
this is happening at C, which will be significant later.
Yes.
Because C stands for Catwoman.
Oh boy.
Obviously.
Oh gosh.
Obviously.
I hate the choices
I will
we're
admit,
making.
the tortured riddles that we get through the course of this film don't really work for me, but
That was a really cool Burt Ward dummy we saw just then.
Also, an interesting Robin crotch shot for a second.
This sequence takes so much, and then it explodes. Why
Exploding
does it
shark.
explode?
Cut to press conference.
it
well, we're going to find out why it
Here we
explodes.
are.
That's an important plot point, Sarah. Maybe you didn't like this movie because you just weren't paying attention to it.
That's not the
Well,
case.
I don't know.
I
I remember looking over when there was good jokes and you were on your phone. I was like, Sarah, look, watch, Sarah. And you're like, I can't be bothered.
There are pictures of Elizabeth Olsen on Tumblr, you guys. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't pictures of Elizabeth Olsen. You were looking at.
That's what
We should probably note, sadly, that Adam West passed away just a few months ago as of this recording. We are currently recording this in the middle of August. He died on June 9th, 2017, aged 88, and was a working actor for 63 years, which is an impressive accomplishment, even in this day and age. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the stipulations for Adam West doing this film, he said, was that he absolutely had to have more screen time as Bruce Wayne, which is why we get so much Bruce Wayne in this film.
That makes a lot of sense. Here we have Catwoman pretending to be the reporter, and she has leopard print everything, including a camera cover. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but her camera defo has
Hey,
leopard print all
It's a
over
look.
it.
She's put together a look.
It's not a great look.
Okay, but Lee Merriweather, though.
Oh no, she's very beautiful.
Okay, probably the least successful of all the Catwomen that we've had. But wow,
Eartha Kitt is my favorite.
Eartha Kitt's amazing.
Yeah, she
But
here
yeah.
is playing Katanya Iriana Tatanya Kirinska Alisov, or, just Kitka, which I
She's
appreciate.
playing Russian.
Oh no, she's from the Red Room. She's here to destroy Batman.
I do really like that she brings up, oh, you're like the master vigilantes from the Westerns. And they're like, dear God, no. They are deputized
shut your
by
mouth.
the law.
She's lucky she didn't get slapped in 1966.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's true.
Well, we're very much under the influence of, the comics code at this point, even in the world of the TV show, because
Right.
we're so closely connected to the comics. And that means we have to be very careful about how we portray alcohol and drugs and
Yeah, they can't be vigilantes.
it's certainly not.
As
vigilantes,
Robin
yeah.
says, support your police. That's our message.
That's right.
Here we get some stills from all the villains. I don't know who took these photos. Someone was just hanging out with the villains taking these pictures.
There's
apparently.
Catwoman. We literally just met her and yet don't recognize her. It's weird because she
Listen,
looks a lot like Lee Merriweather.
with just a little mask on.
Yeah.
If we learned anything from Robin over here, it's all it takes is a little mask, and no
Yeah,
one will
domino
recognize
masks
it.
will
true.
throw off anyone from your trail. No worries. Oh my
Here we get
gosh.
the riddles. The riddles have come.
Do you guys like riddles?
Good ones, yeah. Sure.
Good riddles.
Do you know any good riddles?
Like the riddle of the Sphinx.
Well, everybody knows that riddle.
Well, sure, but it was really good back in the day.
Oh yeah, it was really good at the time. Yes.
There's a lot of little jumps that we get.
They're very exciting,
The dynamic
yeah.
duo are running places. It's pretty great.
We did that to you last night when you were serving us tequila shots. Actually,
Yes.
we
Yes.
jumped in place in excitement. We
We're
were
gonna
very
get
thrilled.
a lot of
This is some
use
good
out of this
boots.
pure set
Boots.
too. This is amazing.
Boots.
Boots, nice boots.
Bar fight.
So, Sarah, which of the four primary villains that we get in this movie which is your favorite?
Um,
To recap, we've got
We have
Cesar
the-
Romero
okay.
as the Joker.
yes.
We've got Frank Gorshin as the Riddler.
Uh-huh.
We've got Lee Merriweather as Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got Burgess Meredith as the Penguin.
Yeah, classically trained, brilliant actor Burgess Meredith playing the penguin.
Yes.
Wow, wow, wow.
I don't know. I think that the Penguin is really, really good. Here's the thing. I don't like the Joker presented like this because obviously my favorite version of the Joker is going to be Heath Ledger's performance in The Dark Knight. Get him, kitty. I feel like the Riddler doesn't get like a whole lot to do. Catwoman is pretty competent, which I'm into, but like of the four, I mean, I don't know. I guess Catwoman by default because I feel like she may be the brains of this outfit, and these
Sure,
other guys
sure.
are kind of total dumbos.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that Penguin and Catwoman might be my favorite. I mean, I'm certain that Cesar Romero is doing a good job, but it's just not a performance that I find particularly interesting. Also, I'm wicked distracted by his mustache that he refused to
no, that
shave.
is so dumb.
Used to shave
Yes.
his mustache, so they painted
Like,
it.
did no one tell him that it would grow back?
Well, no, he had another role that he was basically shooting at the same time. One of the
Oh, I
things about
see.
this production is that it was shot fast.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to be on another set probably 20 minutes after he wrapped this scene.
So, do you think that in the shots in Justice League where they had to bring back Henry Cavill as Superman and he's got a mustache,
It's an
do you think he
homage.
just like caked
Yeah,
some
yeah, it's an
foundation on
homage.
there?
Yeah.
I want to believe that's true, certainly. So, of the 4 primary villains in this movie, unfortunately, only Lee Merriweather is still alive. Cesar Romero died in 1994, Burgess Meredith in 1997, and Frank Gorshin in 2005. But Lee Merriweather still kicking. Born in 1935. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
And is in fact appearing in an animated feature this year, Batman versus Two-Face.
Yep, which it's Adam West's last performance.
Yeah.
Wow, really? Is she playing Catwoman?
No. She's playing Lucily Diamond. It's a
Lucille-
small part, but
Lucily Diamond?
Which I
Lucily
think
Diamond.
she played a part in the TV show before this, if I'm not mistaken, before as a side, just a B character in one of the last episodes before being Catwoman in this movie. I might be getting her mixed up with somebody else, but there's
I'm looking through her IMDb, and I'm not. She did surprisingly appear in She did surprisingly appear in Metal Gear Solid 4: Guns of the Patriots.
what?
interesting.
That's she appeared in Duckman.
Duckman. Is that Howard the Duck's movie?
It's not that.
Oh,
It's
boy.
not that.
Yes.
Oh, boy. Okay. We've got a film developing tank, super fine background. God. A magnifying lens. Is the
Everything's
giant
labeled.
penny in this
Everything.
one? I know that that's in the comics.
No,
No, it's not here.
Also, what's up with the giant penny in the Batcave?
It's a Two-Face thing,
Yeah.
Oh, why is it that big?
because Two-Face is crazy.
Oh.
That's something from
What
the
is
old
the
comics. I
essential
don't remember
difference
exactly.
between the Riddler and the Joker?
The Riddler.
Jokes and
Here's
riddles?
the thing about the
Is
Riddler.
this a trick?
The Riddler is thing about the Riddler that I know is that he could be a hero if it wasn't for Batman, because his thing is he has to be the smartest man in the room. And so the reason why he always leaves a riddle for Batman is because he wants to outsmart Batman. He doesn't really care to take over the world. He just wants to prove that he's smarter than Batman.
Okay.
And so he's been driven insane by the fact that there is someone smarter than him when he is so smart himself.
Okay.
Which is a nice perspective on Batman's character that we actually get here in Batman 66. The idea of him being the world's greatest detective is emphasized over and over,
Excuse
even
you,
though
but
the
the
writing.
world's greatest detective is Angus MacDonald.
Hello, sirs.
Well,
Hello, sirs.
in that world.
According to the DC Wikia, the giant penny is one of the most iconic pieces of memorabilia found in the Batcave, along with the giant Joker card and the mechanical T-Rex. I want to click those hyperlinks right now, let me tell you. In almost every iteration, the penny is a memento from Batman's encounter with the Penny Plunderer. I know
wrong?
literally nothing
What
about
is-
the
who-
Penny Plunderer.
what?
I'm apparently a bad comic fan.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
So who
I
was the
made
Penny
some
Plunderer, and
assumptions.
why does he have
They
this
were
giant
wrong.
penny?
The Penny Plunderer was a man of modest beginnings. He earned pennies by peddling newspapers. He was later fired from his job for pitching pennies in the office and began a career in crime. He fumbled his first heist by robbing a cash register stuffed with pennies. I don't know. He
What?
was introduced in 1947, which may explain everything.
Yeah, okay. So just the man loved pennies.
He just crazy
Just
for pennies.
crazy for pennies.
Yeah.
He took all the pennies. Okay, can we talk about this dumb submarine that looks like a
I
freaking
just realized the
penguin?
pun. No, I'm sorry. We can't because the Penny Plunderer's real name is Joseph Coyne.
No.
Coyne. Joseph Coyne.
You could have just done COIN.
You could, but you didn't.
They didn't.
They created that
You
character.
specifically didn't.
Oh, my bad.
Didn't do that, Sarah.
Sorry, I was.
Go back in time and do better.
Yeah, man, how many generations back is that? Like, how many separate people was I in at that point to not even be like,
Yes, all 8 of your grandparents needed to come together
yes,
like Captain Planet
yep.
and write a better version of the Penny Plunderer. For those of you listening at home, you may have noticed we're a little more punchy than usual. That's because it's the end of a long weekend, and rather than recording in our luxurious Friday afternoon spot, we're now recording in a last minute. This is the
Sunday
only time we
afternoon.
could all get together. Late Sunday afternoon slot.
Yes.
It's practically Sunday evening. as we're
Basically,
recording
yes.
this.
Yeah.
So if we're a little punchier than normal, that's why. That is an excellent Penguin Periscope.
It
though.
is. It's fantastic.
He's so dainty, Batman.
He is.
That's very good. God, I gotta get me one of those fancy cigarette holders.
Can you also get a fake stuffed penguin that lights your cigarettes?
Yeah.
he has
That
one
would
of
be
those.
pretty good.
And
You know what? I bet
have
that they
one
make a
of those.
Zippo lighter that has a penguin on it. I'm gonna
bet they
Google
do.
it right now.
No, you can't do that right now
Sure.
because you need to be watching the movie right now.
I
This was
already
the problem the
watched this
original
movie.
time.
About here is whenever the first time I was just like, I'm out.
This really does take forever, though. It's fair.
It takes a very long time. And also, you never even get to see the porpoises or the shark or the octopus. It's just water exploding, and you got to use your imagination.
You
And
saw that shark. Would you want to see the special effect they could have done for the exploding porpoise or the exploding octopus?
no,
Would you have wanted to see that with your eyes and not been
No.
able to forget it ever for the rest of your life?
what is that floating thing in the water at their feet? That was what was that?
I don't know. I missed it.
Was it their boat?
I don't think. No, I know what their
Yo-ho.
boat looks like.
The repetition of yo-ho in this film.
Oh my god! I
It's
just
pretty good,
found
yeah.
penguin-shaped lighters.
Oh, they are shaped like penguins even.
Yes.
Not even just a penguin on it.
Yep,
Shaped like
look,
that. Well,
shaped like a little penguin. You break his little penguin neck, and then he lights a cigarette for you.
Patreon.com, everybody.
We'll include a link to that in the show notes. Why not?
If you purchase it through our link, we will get a little bit of money.
Okay, so what's happening here? Magnets?
Lots
Yes.
of
How do
An
they work?
electromagnet?
How do magnets work? That's a good question. To answer that question, we've brought on my good friends Shaggy Two Dope and Violent J.
Are those juggalos?
Those are the Insane Clown Posse.
Got it. They're fighting Nazis right now?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the world is weird.
The world is so
Yeah.
bizarre, you guys.
Whoa, Torpedo. How is the dynamic duo
What's
ever going to escape?
really important about this sequence, as Batman and Robin are trapped magnetically to the floating buoy, is that we do it 3 times. Is that
Oh
we
my
have
gosh,
3
it
separate torpedoes
takes a
coming toward them.
million
Yeah.
billion years.
Yeah, I like that the villains know now. They're like, oh, they must have a device that destroys the
Yeah.
torpedoes. Shoot another one.
It didn't work. We should
And
try
it's not,
again,
here's
though,
the thing,
right?
they don't even have a device. These are just like some self-sacrificial porpoises that are
I mean,
I
Well,
love
they do
you,
have a
Batman.
device at first.
We
There's a
actually
device at
have
first.
Batman and Robin trapped on this buoy. We could just sail over there and beat them to death.
We could just shoot
beat
them
to
in the
death
head.
old school.
Yeah.
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 But no.
You know what? Oh, wait. I think I just figured out. Okay, like these porpoises are probably saving them because they probably know Aquaman.
Aquaman's like, go get him.
On Dasher, on Dancer, on Prancer and
That
Vixen.
would be the best deep cut possible.
Yeah, it
If
has
there'd
to
just
be.
been a
Otherwise,
throwaway
why are
line.
these like.
No. Not a porpoise saves them, but just Aquaman. Aquaman just takes the hit. He's never seen on screen. There was some kind of swimming man. Well, he's dead
Thanks,
now.
Aquaman. Holy mer people, Batman. Oh, boy. I'm already
Yeah.
enjoying the movie a little more at 1.5 times speed. So I really do
Yes.
think that the pacing was
This
like
may even be double time
major
speed. I'm not sure this is
problem.
1.5.
Oh, gosh, I
we're-
hope it's double time. No, it's not double. He doesn't quite sound doubled.
It is inexplicable that we don't even get a nod to the effect of the porpoise blowing up. But
Yeah, no,
Nope.
they just tell
Yep.
us.
No. This scene is ridiculous. Also,
Like, what is
classified waste. It's classified. Don't ask. Hello, did you sell a nuclear
hello.
submarine, perhaps?
Thank you,
to
Robin.
somebody?
You are also my secretary as well as being my ward. / heterosexual life mate.
Hey, office affairs, man.
And then we see him look up the information, and it takes a full minute of my life.
This girl that is sitting with him, I love her the most because she has this look on her face like, God, this is not what I got into the Navy for.
No. But
I
it is
wanted to be a
simultaneously
hero.
the cushiest job that you could
That's
possibly
true.
have.
You want to just like play games with the Admiral in his office?
Well, I just really like the Admiral. Did I do something wrong?
He's stoned. That guy's stoned out of his gourd.
Batman is just so disappointed. So
What's
disappointed.
worse than
You
Batman's
sold
disappointment?
A nuclear submarine
Gosh, he
to Mr.
says.
P. N. Gwyn, knowing that the Penguin is a world-known villain.
Wow. That's good stock footage.
There's
right
the
there of a
Polaris rocket.
launch. Yeah.
Oh man, that just makes me wish that I was watching the 100 right now.
Okay, here's the thing though. I like the villain performances in this movie. I'm less engaged by Cesar Romero. I don't think that this is his best turn as the Joker. And unfortunately, Burgess Meredith has to carry like a lot of the exposition as the Penguin. But I think that Frank Gorshin is actually great as the Riddler. He has a fierce glee that does kind of communicate a sense of danger to me, which I really like. And Lee Merriweather, I think, is legitimately good. Particularly when she's playing the part of Cut later.
Yes, yeah. No, she's very, very good.
Yes.
So the riddle that they just received was, what does a turkey do when it flies upside down?
Gobbles
Yes.
up. It gobbles up. Of course.
What?
Of course.
What?
A sparrow with a machine gun.
This is insane.
Of course. Couldn't be anything else.
You know what? No. Okay. All right. No. Robin is the Riddler.
It's the only
It has
possible
to be.
explanation.
Yeah, it really is, because how are you supposed to get... I'm sorry, what was the second question? But the answer was a sparrow with a machine gun?
Yeah, the riddles are never clearly answered.
No, it's
but they
complete
act
nonsense.
like that's the only possible answer. And I think at certain times, like, it couldn't be anything else.
So to recap, what does a turkey do when he flies upside down?
Gobbles up.
What weighs 6 ounces, sits in a tree, and is very dangerous?
A sparrow with a machine gun?
See, you just solved my riddle.
Oh my god.
You solved my puzzle.
Oh my
of
god.
riddles.
No. You know what else is like 6 ounces, sits in a tree, and is extremely dangerous? Like a grenade or something. I don't know. How much does a grenade weigh? 6
Probably
ounces?
more than 6 ounces.
Probably more than a bird. If
But
I was holding a
arguably,
sparrow or
the
a grenade.
the sparrow with the machine gun would weigh more than 6 ounces.
A grenade in
How
the
does
hand
the
is worth a sparrow in the bush with a machine gun?
How is a sparrow holding the machine gun? It's so much heavier than
It's
he
a
is.
tiny machine gun. A little tiny
He just
machine
tries
gun.
really hard. He just really wants to
You don't know that,
murder
Sparrow.
people, I guess, from a
You know?
nearby tree.
That sparrow
I
tries real
love
hard.
the canted Dutch angles that we get
Yeah,
in
because
every
they're
villain
crooked.
shot. Yeah,
The villains
it's
are
so
crooked.
good.
And
That's
so
actually
the
really
camera,
clever. I
it's
like
such
that
a
a lot.
Great
when
like
we see the
establishment of
villains.
visual language. It does get a little out of control later in this movie where we're getting like 40-degree canted shots and it's kind of difficult to tell what's going on.
It is weird to me that in this film we don't get as many bams and zaps and
We really don't.
plows.
That's true.
And
I
that was what
wish
the show was
that
known
we had
for.
so much more of those.
Yeah.
The show was known for the fight scenes where they just threw the crazy lettering up on the screen when people got punched.
God, that mustache.
You're just
is
laughing
bad.
at the mustache. I know it's the only thing you can look at when he's on screen. That is a sharp outfit that the Riddler's wearing in this.
That
scene,
would
though.
actually look really good, like on a night on the town.
Yeah,
It would-
little, maybe not the question mark
No,
on the
no,
tie
you
there,
take
but
that
like
out.
the little
Yeah,
green
yeah.
vest over the black shirt. That
Okay,
could
here's
work.
what we do for Halloween. We dress up as the villains in this film.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be Penguin because I'm shortest,
I'll be
and also
Catwoman.
so Elizabeth can be Catwoman. Oh, okay.
You got dibs.
Nailed it.
We could just be 4 different Catwomen.
4 different Catwoman.
I love that everyone else is dressed down for this sequence here in the villain lair.
Yeah.
Like they're all just wearing their, we're still on brand. We're still on
Sure,
point. But this is
yeah.
our casual outfit. Catwoman's like, hell no. I'm
Yeah.
going full bodysuit. Thank you very
These are
much.
my lounge
Domino mask. I
pants.
got everything going.
There's a line that the Penguin has. I don't know if we already missed it or not because I don't remember where it comes. Where he says, "We shall hang together, and most assuredly we shall hang separately." This is actually a Benjamin Franklin quote, which is kind of
Yeah.
weird. He would just throw out a Benjamin Franklin quote in the middle of this movie.
Okay, can you guys talk to me about Penguin, like in the comics and like his story and his background? Because everything I know about the Penguin, I got from, was it the Michael Keaton Batman?
Oh man,
Where it was Danny
Yeah.
DeVito and he
Yeah.
had
you
weird
watched
flipper
Gotham though,
hands.
didn't you?
Yeah, but
The whole first season's kind of pretty Penguin.
I think I missed the first season is the thing. Yeah. So
I've
like,
only
what's
seen
the
the
deal
first
with
season.
Penguin?
Well, the deal with Penguin is that he's a hustler. He's oftentimes born into like disadvantaged circumstances in Gotham City. He is perhaps
But
most
he's not
perfectly-
actually. He doesn't have flipper hands.
Sometimes.
Sometimes he does.
Sometimes he
That's weird.
does. Yep.
Not
Sometimes
always.
he looks like Burgess
Sometimes
Meredith.
he's deformed. Sometimes he just has a weird nose.
Yeah,
Sometimes he
it's-
goes wah wah wah
Yeah.
wah, and sometimes
the
he doesn't.
nose is, I think, the most common characteristic.
Yeah, that
Maybe
seems
the most
pretty
frequent
standard.
characteristic, Yeah.
Typically, he's just like he's kind of like the kingpin. He's the crime boss. He's the one that people are scared of. He runs
Okay,
the mobs. He
that
runs
makes
all the
way
trade.
more sense than like weird sewer Danny DeVito baby.
That's fair. But Penguin, when he's done well, I think is representative of like the seedy underbelly of Gotham.
Yeah.
We don't ever
Right.
get a sense of this, of course, in the 66 TV show, but the idea that Gotham has high highs and very low lows,
Yes.
the idea that it's a city of huge inequality
Is Robin
and
doing
kind of
his homework?
social tension and injustice.
Hopefully,
No, he's a fully grown man. He doesn't have homework.
Is he? He looks like a 17-year-old boy.
I think Burt Ward was 23.
yeah, he's definitely
something
like in his
that.
early
Yeah.
20s, but he's supposed to definitely be like 15 or something. It is put forth in the first season that he's definitely under
Someone
18.
Russian is going to slip on a banana peel and break their neck is the solution to that riddle. And Batman's response, rather than, as you might expect, just slapping Robin across the face, is to say, precisely, Robin.
Precisely.
That's the only possible interpretation of this
Yeah.
clue.
The riddle there was, what has yellow skin and writes, a ballpoint banana. What people are always in a hurry? Russian people, Russians.
Okay,
That
the
was-
Russian
that
people,
was good.
yeah, no, that works
that one.
okay. Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
what was that? No, I'm sorry. I'm so enraged by
What people are always in a hurry? Russian people.
because they're Russian. Yeah.
And,
if
which
you're in
they
the
put,
bathroom, what are you? European. Ah!
but then they put those two riddles together and they say someone Russian is going to slip on a banana peel and break their neck.
How do you
That's-
get that
I don't
from
know, it's part of it.
ballpoint banana?
It's not even. There's not even like a dangerous thing there.
It's just it's a banana that writes. Is there? Okay, now I have to Google banana.
If I
pen.
even get banana and Russians from this, all I can assume is that some Russians are going to eat bananas.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. If
But
nothing
what
else, Sarah,
about the
you're
ballpoint?
you are going to come out of this podcast with a huge new collection of little tchotchkes. You've got
Like,
your penguin
listen,
lighter, you've got your banana
I
pen.
love. Oh my god, I can get 6 banana pens for $9.
Hey, did you guys know that the banana flavoring doesn't taste like bananas because it is actually modeled after an older type of banana that is now extinct that
I
we don't
didn't know
have
that.
anymore?
Know that.
And that's actually closer to what it tasted like.
Wow.
Well, let me tell you, that extinct banana tastes nasty.
I did know that all the bananas that you buy in the supermarket are genetic clones of each other and are also very mildly radioactive.
Did you know
fact.
that we share 10 to 15% of our DNA with bananas?
At what point are we not watching this movie and just talking about trivia?
Now, I think
It's
the
now.
time is
Oh, okay,
now.
we're past that point.
Oh, I just remembered. I don't think it's Catwoman. I think it's the singer in that scene was a henchman
yes,
in
yes,
the
yes.
last
Oh,
episode that aired
yes.
just before this
Yes,
film.
yes, yes.
That's what it was.
Right.
I forgot there was other women in this film.
Okay. So tell me this. Riddle me this.
Oh, God.
no.
Dynamic duo.
Oh, boy.
Adam West was a really good-looking guy, right?
Yeah, he was.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a really preposterously good-looking guy. He's got
I wish that his
classic hero
eyebrows were a little stronger.
chin. That's fair. That's why he
could
paints them
shade-
onto his bat mask.
God.
exactly why.
Super compensating
just
for
shade
his
those in a
weak
little bit.
Bruce Wayne eyebrows.
You can buy a little packet from Elf for like $2.
Alfred with the domino mask.
Yep, because he's driving the Batmobile. He
I
can't
love
be
it.
recognized.
No, yeah.
Papa, grandpapa, bat papa,
Bat Papa.
grandpa bat, grandbat,
Alfred has a few times
Well,
in
wait.
the comics
Couldn't he
taken
just
over.
be Bat Dad?
Bat Dad?
bat dad.
Little Bat Dad.
God,
Thanks, Bat Dad.
thanks, bat dad.
I really like that Robin gets uncomfortable watching Kit Kat and Bruce Wayne together. He's like,
That's because
this
Robin is in
probably
love
isn't
with
okay.
Bruce.
We probably shouldn't watch
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And Alfred's
I don't
like,
want to
yeah,
see
yeah.
this.
There was a part, I think when we were watching it the first time, I don't remember what Alfred says, but he seems like he really doesn't want him to turn off the camera. And he's like, Alfred, you dirty man.
Alfred's a dirty bird.
Dirty old bird.
He's got his glasses outside of his domino
He
mask.
sure does. He's got to see. He's driving. Robin's not old enough to drive. The bat signal.
Man, I'll tell you what, the
a
people in the 60s had like
good-looking bat
perfect
signal.
skin. I don't know what they did later to like fix that, but
Was
like
that
my
not
God, that
makeup?
woman's
I mean, I'm
face
assuming
is
that
porcelain.
This is just makeup. They're just powdered
Incredibly
faces, right?
harsh.
You know what? I might just be thinking about this because I've been breaking out a lot lately.
And you're looking at Adam West and thinking, picture so smooth.
Such a smooth face.
Such a smooth boy.
No.
No?
No, no, not like that. Yeah, but then you
You're just
said it, and I
appreciative
didn't
of his
enjoy
skincare
it.
regimen, is what I'm saying.
What? This is a weird. This is weird. They're pressing their faces together sidewaysly.
We should say that one of the things that sets this version of Batman apart from pretty much all other versions of Batman, particularly
Is the
modern
billionaire
Batman,
playboy philanthropist part?
is not. No, that part's consistent at least.
Yes.
But his parents, he is not defined by tragedy.
Nope.
He's not
He's
haunted.
defined by justice
Exactly right.
and being the good Boy Scout.
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God, you know what? I think that I just now decided that this is my favorite Batman movie because I didn't have to watch Thomas and Martha Wayne
There you
die.
go.
There you go.
Okay, great.
I would like to point out that watching this scene as an adult is very awkward because it seems like they're doing some kind of like mental masturbation with each other because there's like, close your eyes, think of it. Are you getting there? Are you there yet? And then she's like, don't yet, not yet.
just ASMR
I'm like, what
is
is happening in this scene? What
Where
are
are
you
your
guys
hands?
doing?
Hand
except
checks.
for like
Where are your hands?
having mental sex. I don't know.
So and there's Bruce over
And-
there like
and then
tapping his
right
fingers
here,
together, like
Bruce-
getting really psyched.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne right here is just like, she's like, we can't hold on to the other. He's like, yes, we must embrace this thing. For what is it to have a dream if not to fulfill it? And he's like, let's do
Robin
it. He's basically
is
saying,
so
let's do it.
pissed off.
Here it is.
Robin is so mad. Like, I've never
just
seen
turns off-
like,
he turns off
such
angry.
contempt.
And
Our
Alfred's like,
instructions
keep
were
watching, keep
to keep
watching.
watch. So let me watch, damn you.
I'm an old man.
I'm
This
an
is
old
my
man.
fetish.
I live in a house with you two.
And here
Let
we
me
go. We
watch.
have rocket umbrellas, giant rocket
God,
umbrellas, which
God.
the Joker is all too happy about riding, and this
Yeah.
pirate seems confused about.
You know what? I am that pirate. That pirate is me.
It's like, what's going on? I think it's the same pirate that is like very lovingly like holding Batman on the umbrella as they fly away. Or Bruce Wayne.
No, I think it is. I think you're right. Yeah.
Hey.
There it is, showing some legs.
Check out them gams.
Just slip
Gams
into
is
something
legs,
a little more
right?
comfortable.
We talked about this recently. I was very confused.
You thought gams were?
Boobs?
Okay. No. All right. Yeah. Gams are legs.
Gams are legs. Huh.
Okay. Talk about something else. I'm going to just look up the etymology of gams.
Oh boy. Okay, well here's Bruce weirdly like cradling his own self. I don't like the little bow in her hair. I feel like that's very girlish and it makes me feel bad feelings. I don't enjoy
Makes me
it.
feel bad feeling.
So gam comes into English in the Middle English from the French gamin, meaning legs, I guess.
Oh, well that was
Yeah,
easy
we
and
learned so
lame.
much.
Thanks,
So
France.
lame.
Lame.
Now in American English slang, especially with reference to the well-formed legs of a pretty woman. But this was not the original sense.
Here, the Joker and Penguin come in wearing domino masks because they're really worried about someone realizing that they're the Joker and the Penguin.
The Riddler
'Cause I don't
already
know
has a domino
How
mask.
they would ever guess that that was the Joker or the Penguin?
Why? Where do the pirates come in exactly?
They're on a ship. Yo ho, Sarah.
That little beat.
They're on a fake
Catwoman
ship.
gets so caught
I
up
guess.
in the fight
In the
that she
submarine, though.
makes her little scratchy gestures and then looks down at her hands and kind of collects herself. That's a great character beat.
It is.
Sure,
It's
yeah.
cartoonish, but yeah.
Robin and Alfred, everything's probably fine.
This is
Oh no. Holy demolition.
holy rusted metal Batman.
Well,
Chris O'Donnell wasn't a
nice
good
call to
Robin
Chris
though,
O'Donnell.
right?
No, not really. But
No,
that wasn't
and
a good
Alicia
Batman movie. That's not his
Silverstone
fault.
wasn't a good Batgirl.
Nothing about those movies were
No,
really good.
you know who's a
Those
great
later
Robin
two
is
ones.
Michael Cera.
Okay.
He voices Robin in the
Yeah.
Lego Batman
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
You didn't
Yeah.
like him?
Well, no, I'm sorry, I got stuck. Okay, let me explain what happened
Please,
there.
please.
What happened there was I wasn't thinking about his voice acting at first. Instead, I saw him dressed as Robin and I got very confused and lost for a second. And so I just couldn't recover from that. I was, what am I looking at?
Who would
here?
be your ideal Batman and Robin casting?
Oh, that's tough because I don't know a lot of like young boy actors.
That's true. Well, you just get like a young man actor.
Just have to go with Tom. God, why did I just forget his last name? Spider-Man.
Oh, Tom. Oh my God.
Nailed
Oh
it.
God.
Got it.
Holland. Tom Holland. Thank you, Alistair, for coming back and
All right.
rescuing us.
I both
My
brought
brain
you a
kept
beer.
screaming Tom
and-
Felton.
I know. I just like lost it for some reason.
Tom
Yeah,
Felton as
okay.
Spider-Man,
Tom
he could do
Felton
that.
as Tom Felton as Robin and
Tom Felton as Arachnid Boy.
Spiderling.
Yeah, I'm not good at like dream casting. I can't do this. Alistair, who
Neither
would
was
you
Sega.
cast as,
Hey!
who would you cast as Batman and Robin today?
For this kind of Batman and
Oh,
Robin?
that's a good question.
Oh, for any. I don't know.
For,
Who's
like-
okay, first of all, what's your preferred Batman and Robin? And then who would you cast in those roles?
I mean, I love Batman the animated series, so
Yeah.
that's my preferred Batman. That's like
is
my vision of
the
Batman.
Batman.
It's certainly my vision of Joker.
That's certainly, I think, my Batman as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We should probably do some Batman animated series.
probably
sooner
should.
rather
We
than
absolutely
later.
should. We have planned on and talked often about doing Lego Batman movie. We might we need to let's have a Bat month. at
We
some
should.
point.
Okay, we'll do it in October because it's spooky.
Hey, and we're gonna watch
Spoopy.
some Martha Wayne die like a lot,
Yeah,
Man,
lots
like
of
a
death.
lot.
like a lot.
Well, yeah, like a lot.
Here's Kit Kat in the bed pretending to be tied up. She changed very quickly to get
I
in
love
this room.
the misdirection here where we blindfold Bruce to take him to Kitka, and
just
then
spin
later
him
in the
around.
movie we realize it's the next
Yeah,
room.
they
Yes.
just spin him
Yeah.
around.
Literally
She
goes through
changes
one
clothes
door.
and then they shove him through the door.
You know that thing where you have to like bend over and put your nose like on a baseball bat, and then you like spin around a whole bunch, and then you got to race the other kids like to the end. Did no
Listen,
one else do
whatever
No, but I
you
think that
do
you
in
should
your
demonstrate
bedroom is
for us.
between you and your God. I don't know what.
that? What did you say?
I said I think you should demonstrate for us.
Well, I'm gonna need a baseball bat.
We'll figure something missing out.
Yeah, I guess I could use
There's
your
actually
guitar.
a rolled up map there in the corner of the studio. That's about the
Use the
right
rolled up
size
map.
and
All
shape.
right,
I think
okay,
you could
so
do
we'll
that.
need
Yeah.
Lily also because the whole point is that it's a race. Otherwise,
That's hilarious.
It's an ace.
it's me, Mario. What are you
I
doing?
was doing Rat Race, Mr. Bean. I don't know what you just went to.
I went to
I know, but I
Mario
don't know what bridge you crossed to get there.
because you said it's a race.
It's a race. I'm winning.
Is this the silliest episode of Excelsior we've ever recorded?
Yeah.
I mean, it would have to be. We're going to
Right.
cover Batman 66.
That's
It's
fair.
going to have to get silly.
Did all of these men in
Okay.
these tights stuff their underpants?
They had to have, right?
Like, do they have like cushions just to like
I
protect
wouldn't
their
blame them.
manhood from like just being remarkably
you get
evident?
a lot of crotch
'Cause I
shots,
feel like-
especially of Robin, and yet you
Yeah.
don't really. There's no actual.
You don't see that
forming
he's, I
there.
mean, like smoother than a Ken doll.
That's right.
Yes.
You don't even get the Ken doll bulge. Oh, holy shit, Catwoman. Jesus.
I like how Catwoman just stands aside and is like, get up, and then she doesn't actually want to join the fray.
Where is her cat? She could like throw her cat. Oh, God.
That dummy was just catapulted into the water and
jeez.
blown up by the octopus.
Well, okay, now explain to me the octopus. Does the octopus
It was
have.
Penguin's explosive octopus.
So
Yes.
it's an octopus which explodes?
Yes.
Yeah.
The penguin so loves the creatures of the sea that he
You
packs
see.
them full of high explosives and uses them in
I
death traps.
don't
It's
understand.
the C. The C is for C4.
God damn it.
Oh, this dive has
Get
always
the
impressed me.
fuck out.
That's a long way to dive, and it's just so perfect.
Yeah.
I'm like, I always thought that
It's
was really
pretty
cool. Great day in the morning.
Oh, bloody Aunt Nora.
That's what you think it means.
He's had like a long walk to fix his shirt. Just left it completely unbuttoned there. He's just
Okay,
Well,
here
look
Burt
at you.
Ward
I
looks
mean,
about
my
12
God,
years
right.
old for real, though.
Yeah. Is it the velour sweater that's making you
It's the velour sweater and the
That is
little boy
actually-
haircut.
He is cosplaying Angus MacDonald right now.
he
Oh my
totally
gosh, yes. And Robin wishes he could be Angus McDonald. Shoot. Oh man, now I
He
want Angus
literally
McDonald
does.
drawn. And Angus and Taco drawn as Batman and Robin.
There it is. There it is. We need this.
Normally, I edit out the references to the Adventure Zone in Excelsior, but this is kind of a commentary track, so I'm not sure that I can do
I'm
that.
not
No
sorry.
editing. What? We just kind of got on pit. That was
We did,
weird.
yeah. Oh, that's right. This is when I
Okay.
learned a lot about myself.
Yes.
Here's
so
Catwoman
this
being very
sequence
sultry.
of, I mean, this is extraordinary.
Uh-huh.
She is genuinely sexy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's difficult to be in a 1960s TV show, I guess.
Uh-huh.
She's just slowly cleaning her fingers like a cat. A wink while she talks.
It's an interesting eyebrow action too.
Yeah, it's neat.
Extra
it's
little. I don't know what you would call that. An extra little peak mid brow.
I like how there's this
She's
giant.
got several, actually. It's very, like, spiky. I'm not sure why she's doing
Ah.
that unless it's supposed to be indicative of, like, the whiskers on a cat's eyes.
There's this giant open room, and yet Joker and Penguin keep talking like right around her legs, like maneuvering up and down over her
Okay,
legs. to
when
talk
you
to her.
okay,
you.
listen.
Yeah.
If she was in the room with me, I would want to be as close to her legs as
Fair,
humanly
but they
possible,
seem completely uninterested in Catwoman while they're doing
which is
it.
unnecessary.
There's a perfect example there of the pacing of this movie and why it feels so slow. Penguin gives the Riddler an instruction, and then we see the Riddler cross the room, open the door, and give that same instruction to one of the pirates.
And here's the other thing: I completely forgot about this entire. I mean, I realized that this is the plot. Okay, hang on. There's just a poster of penguins on the
Also,
wall,
there's
and
lockers labeled red, blue, green, and assorted.
We're an hour in, and the actual primary plot is now starting. Now
yeah,
we're
and
to
it's
the,
a dumb plot. It's,
to the evaporation
the-
rate.
I completely forgot
Dehydrator.
about all of this. Yeah. Hey, why are all of these guys green colored when we learn later that this machine is racist as fuck?
I think you just answered your own question.
Oh, I see. So those guys are all Irish.
We don't exactly know the way that the colors relate to one's ethnicity, but certainly by the end of the movie, and we get to the
There's a couple
UN
of-
Security Council.
Questionable choices.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, there are.
Hey, can we talk for a second about how I didn't know that the World Security Council was a thing? I thought that was a made-up group for
You know what's
superhero
fair?
movies.
It totally sounds like a made-up group for superheroes.
It does, yeah.
If it wasn't a real thing, they would have invented it by now.
Right, and, like, the
it would be
first
headed
time-
by Nick Fury.
Yes, yeah. The first time I ever heard about it was in Avengers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, World Security Council? Pff, okay. Do you mean the UN? Shows what I know. Listen,
We spill a lot of that guy,
Yeah,
by
it's
the
going-
way.
That
as
guy
we're
is going
pouring
to
that
come
guy
back
in
without
there.
a
Yeah.
leg,
Yeah.
missing some organs.
That is such a good design for the Batmobile.
Moby Dick's
Dick's-
parking
Look at that
only.
60s
Yeah, Moby Dick's
suspension,
parking
though. Wow.
I still
Another-
am so shocked to see Batman and Robin like out doing Batman and Robin things in the
Yeah,
daytime.
Daytime. And here's one of the most iconic things that they do in the show and here in the movie where they climb a wall. And of course, they just put that wall on the ground and have them walk across it, pulling on a rope, pretending like they're climbing.
And you can see the fishing line on his cape.
There's totally just wires and stuff in their capes holding it out.
Yeah. And this is a recurring feature in the TV series. It's oftentimes an excuse for a celebrity cameo.
Oh, really? For someone to pop their head out of the window?
Yeah.
It's like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I vaguely recognize this guy, but I don't know who this guy is, actually.
To which his wife must be on the story below because he puts his head out the window, looks down and talks to his wife, and then goes back inside.
They have a complicated living relationship. Here in this bar?
Here? She lives on the second story of the bar. He lives on the third story. He is not allowed on her story.
And now we're getting to what is, I think, generally considered the high point of the movie, the point at which the movie's sense of absurdity just folds in on itself.
Robin is totally okay with this bomb exploding and killing all the drinkers inside because earlier we learned that he doesn't necessarily think they're people.
Yeah.
And Batman's like, oh no, I have to save them. And Robin's like, come on, Batman, just get out of there. Come on, Batman. Let the drunks die.
This is so silly. There is a fish tank in that room. He could have just doused the flame in the fish tank.
That's not how bombs work.
Yeah, it's not a flame.
Is it magnesium?
Yeah, it sure looks like a magnesium.
I mean, here we get a scene of just two women
hungry.
who apparently love food, have a lot of food in front of them, and it's just them in the foreground eating some food twice in a row in two different scenes
in the
here.
60s, being fat was just enough of a joke. That was
And
just the punch.
and
And
they're twins,
and then
so
in the
that's
70s
interesting.
and the 80s and the 90s and now.
today.
Yeah. Yeah. The way this whole sequence is orchestrated, though.
Jeez.
Yeah,
It's ambitious.
no one cares except that guy apparently.
He could have
that there's a
turned
bomb.
it slightly
The
to
band,
the right.
the band just keeps playing and walking by as Batman's running with a bomb. And the nuns just walk by and they're like, well, we don't care. There's a bomb. I don't care.
Can't blow up the necking kids.
No smoking within 50 feet, Batman. Take that bomb away. There's
The nuns again.
Still uncaring. The mother with the baby doesn't care. The band still doesn't care.
I think this
And those fake ducks.
I think this is why this part of the movie works for me so well, is that it is so absurd that it's clear that it's self-aware, right?
Yeah.
They know that this is supposed to be funny. So they're leaning into it, and that works for me because so much of the discomfort that you feel watching. Also, Robin runs up. Batman is literally 2 feet to his left. Batman!
And Batman
I'm
decides
here.
not to get up the first time he cries Batman. Like, hold on, oh, wait a second.
Bruce Wayne is like seriously fucked up, is the thing.
I gotta make
If you
sure
wanna
his
be a
heart's
great
working good.
superhero. You really got to have a difficult childhood.
It's true. It's just true.
How many Robins have there been?
Gosh.
Like,
I mean, if
canonically?
you're
I
looking
think 4 or
alternate
5
universes,
very main ones.
Yes, yeah, 4 or 5.
But then alternate ones, of course, there's a
Sure.
bunch. So
How many can we name? I think I can only
Jason
name
Todd,
Jason
Dick
Todd,
Grayson,
Tim
Tim
Drake.
Drake.
Tim Drake,
Those are the
Damian
3 I
Wayne.
can do.
Damian Wayne,
Okay.
and the girl one.
Why can't I think of that one? I know that one.
Yep.
God, I wish we could edit this. Now I look
Any
bad.
other
We
episode.
are the problem.
Quick to the comic book DB. Sorry, that was the scene change as we went to comic.
I like it. I appreciate it. It's Stephanie
have
Brown,
edited
by
that
the way.
out.
Stephanie Brown. Well, I mean, like, how long was she
There you
around?
go.
I didn't even know that there was a girl Robin until recently.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Those are the main ones. Of course, there are always the alternate universes and different things.
Sure,
and,
yeah.
where there have been
And the
others,
Robin
so.
now is Damien, right?
He
Chilling out
is
with
the main Robin.
John?
Yep. Superman's
it.
son.
See, you are
Super
up to
Sons is a
date. Good
fantastic
job.
comic, by the way.
Good
Everybody,
job.
you should be reading Super Sons. It's so good. It's really amazing. I really wish that we'd get some alternate versions of that where Damian and John grow up and they get to be Superman and Batman
I was literally
together.
just thinking that. Like, why
That'd
not
be a
do
lot
like
of
some
fun.
legacy titles and be like,
Yeah.
okay, Bruce Wayne. I mean, like, man, remember how good Batman Beyond was?
Yeah.
Because Batman Beyond was
Batman was
very
good.
good.
I should mention that when you're talking about Girl Robins, the one that a lot of people know is Carrie Kelly because she's the one from Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, which is so popular.
sure.
And-
Oh.
But she's only really.
I didn't even know that there were 2 girl Robins. Okay, how was that? Okay, how does the girl Robin like work in fiction though? Like, is there a young girl child living in Bruce Wayne's house, fighting crime with him alone?
Possibly.
Possibly.
I mean,
I don't remember. See, it's been
Yeah,
so long since
no.
I've read those comics. I mean, I read those comics when they were out, so I don't remember now. It's been a while.
I I mean, it's probably fine. Probably Bruce Wayne
I don't
isn't
think
like
she
a
lived with him
pervert.
though, because she picked up that mantle kind of on her own.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't think she was
'cause
ever
we're
with
well
Batman.
past the point in like even though DC keeps rebooting, we're well past the point in DC Comics continuity where Robin is a legacy title all its own. You know, we've had characters picking up that mantle because to be Robin represents something. It's he's not Batman. He's not
Yeah.
just Batman Jr. He's not Kid Flash.
Yeah.
He's a different character that is more hopeful. And I like what Robin represents very much in the comic book series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, there isn't really much space for a female Robin because we've got Barbara Gordon.
Yeah.
Who is just magnificent.
Barbara Gordon is
Yes.
fantastic.
Fantastic.
It's a shame that the Killing Joke animated movie that they did recently was so terrible because Tara Strong voiced Barbara Gordon.
Yeah.
And as you all know, I love me some Tara Strong. She is my favorite voice actress.
Here we go. Just these bad guys just bumping into each other, getting hit, and just
Hey, what does
disappearing
GP
because they were
stand
not
for?
rehydrated properly.
Nope.
Guinea pig.
Guinea pig.
Guinea pig.
Yep.
Yeah, it's guinea pig 1 through 5.
That's how important these lives are.
Oh, I think I just broke Sarah.
I-
I feel bad about it, and yet it was inevitable. So I don't know what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, I know that we thought that my enthusiasm was going to be able to, like, you know, come back and win the day, but I am still thinking about those banana pens I can order from orientaltrading.com.
I feel like I have to redeem myself at some point. We're going to have to talk more about Batman and Robins, and because I feel like I should have known more
Well,
about
we should
Stephanie Brown.
read
but
a
I'm not
Batman
good.
comic at some
I'm not
point.
good at just like coming right off the cuff like that. But
Sure.
Stephanie Brown was Tim Drake's girlfriend, and she was the daughter of a villain called the Spoiler. And there's
Wait,
a
the
whole,
villain's name was a spoiler?
Yeah.
Is he just a guy who, like, walked up to you? It was like Bruce Willis was dead the whole time.
I think actually the Spoiler was maybe her name. She was the daughter of a villain, though. I don't remember maybe what his name was. She was the Spoiler. That wasn't
No
a
one
legacy
laughed at
title.
my dumb joke.
Sorry,
Which
I'm-
is
I'm
fine.
busy
It was
thinking.
a dumb joke.
And I'm looking up the information so that I can actually give a serious
yes,
recommendation to our listeners. If anyone has made it far enough into the podcast to still be like, let's
If
set
you
the
didn't
If
give
anyone is
up.
still listening to this
First
podcast,
of
you're
all, God
trusting
bless
us
you.
now, go read The Brave and the Bold issue number 33, written by J. Michael Straczynski. It is incredible. I'm not spoiling anything to say that, you know, what happens to Barbara
Get it.
Gordon in the course of her career is devastating and terrible, and she becomes Oracle, which is
Yes.
a great career trajectory for
and as we
her.
mentioned on the Suicide Squad episode, that happened in the Suicide Squad comics.
Exactly right. Yeah. So in Brave and the Bold 33, Zatanna, who is one of the premier
like
kind of magicians.
She's a magician,
Yeah,
right?
she actually wears
yeah.
like the magician's gear, which is
she's
pretty
legitimately
great.
a magician.
She goes to Wonder Woman and says, "We have a thing that we need to do. I've had a vision. I've had a foreboding. There's something very important that we have to go and do tonight." So they go to Barbara Gordon and they take her out dancing. And the entire issue is the three of them out clubbing. And it is a great night.
Oh my gosh.
It is a joyous celebration. Yeah, but here's the thing. It happens because Zatanna has had the vision of Barbara Gordon being incapacitated by the Joker
No!
and stuck in a wheelchair for the rest of her life.
Why didn't she say something?
Because she can't change it. She
Yes,
has
you
visions of it.
can.
Well,
Okay, so the
fixed
jump
point in
back
time,
to-
fluid
No,
point in
that's
time.
not how it works. If
Sorry,
you see it,
that's
you can
Batman
change
the Brave and the Bold. No,
Jumping
issue
back
number
to the
33.
commentary
Check
for
it
a
out.
second, there's a motorcycle, the bat motorcycle, the bat bike, and the little cart that Robin rides in. Adam West actually had the button to eject Burt Ward from that motorcycle on his little cart. It would just shoot off inexplicably in any direction, and they just had to hope that he ended up where he was supposed to be. Apparently, he ended up in the water a couple times and bushes a couple of times. Burt Ward specifically said that they would make him do his own stunts oftentimes because they just thought, oh, he'll be fine, just let him do it. And he ended up in the emergency room quite a few times doing this TV show.
Oh my
I'm not sure how
gosh.
much that was him joking, how much that was him being honest, but I at least know that that cart crashed a few times.
I will say this: Burt Ward, from everything that I've read about him and read interviews with him, is just like the nicest guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
He
That's
was
so good.
genuinely, you know, a Robin level of enthusiasm about this
Yeah.
entire process, which
Yeah.
I just adore.
Which is that's a big thing. That's really why so many people know about Batman and Robin from this show, is because these two actors went to everything. They went to conventions, they went to all sorts of promotional things, and met kids and hung out with them and talked to them. So many people actually got to meet these two actors in
Yeah.
character as Batman and Robin. That's
That's
why so
so
many people grew up
cool.
going, "This is my Batman and Robin," because they were actually out there doing stuff. It's not like today where they're just in a movie and then you never see them out doing anything.
I don't think that you can have a 4-way periscope.
Are you saying that the mirrors are difficult to manage there?
I'm.
I mean, now that you've mentioned it,
I'm sure. Well, I'm trying to think about it, and I'm just not sure that you can get light to refract that way. I mean, if you had at the top four different facing periscopes,
just crashed into the foam rubber wholesalers convention.
this is another moment for me. It works because it's clearly
this
intentionally
is
funny.
amusing. Yes,
Like,
I get it. Foam
joke.
rubber in its crude form. You just see the foam rubber like flipping people off.
We missed a couple of things I really appreciated, like when the penguin shows up in disguise, quote unquote, and he's like, and they're basically like, "Oh, you're the penguin." He's like, "No, old boy, it's me, Schmidlap." And they take him to the Batcave, and they're like, "Well, we'll test him or whatever." And that's when the villains show up. But then later, he's knocked out, and Batman knows what's going to happen, but he doesn't tell Robin what's going to happen. He's just like, "Robin, take this pill." And Robin's like, "Okay, Batman."
Are you sure you didn't hit your head, Batman? Take this pill.
What
okay. Am I going to wake up naked again, Batman? Because I don't like it when that happens.
But apparently he had a pill
Weird.
specifically so that Penguin couldn't knock you out.
That's not. I think you need to apologize for your joke. That was not a good joke.
And there's Catwoman. Very
What is she
pleasant by
doing?
this
Lord.
periscope. Really likes this periscope, apparently, from the body
I
language.
literally am that pirate man.
I don't
Yep,
think...
the pirate man looks at her very interestingly.
I'm generally skeptical of that notion that movies are shot chronologically. You know, we shoot each scene in order.
Yeah.
But we definitely shot this movie in sequence. Because Lee Merriweather is just getting sexier and sexier and sexier with every single shot. It's like, oh, I can... More? Oh, I mean,
I
okay.
can gyrate against this periscope.
But this is borderline pornographic
wait,
already.
I have another question. Why are Batman and Robin running down the street? They have a Batmobile and a Batcopter and a
there's
Batboat and a Batbike.
traffic.
They just crashed the Batcopter.
They don't have a
Now they're running
Batplane.
to get there.
I'm so mad.
It's
Why are
faster
you
to
mad?
run. It's faster to run. Also, villains, if you don't want somebody to get inside of a door, just write, "This is not a door" on it. Even if it's clearly a door, just write, "This is not a door."
See, now this is interesting because one of the few things that Batman 66 does to really stress the concept of Gotham City is, guys, it's pretty clearly New York. I'm not sure
I
how
thought
I feel about
Metropolis
it.
was New York.
Well, this is the line, right? That Metropolis is New York, like below 63rd or something like that. On like a bright summer's day, and Gotham is anywhere above 63rd on like the darkest, coldest night of the year.
Yep.
That's the line about, you know, where this kind of coexistence is, which is one of the few things that I really love about Batman
Pretty
versus
cute when the
Superman.
guards
Is that
following
it's
each
just like
other.
across the river?
Yeah, the idea that the idea in Batman versus Superman that Metropolis and Gotham are like opposed across the river is really strong. I like that a lot thematically.
Those darn kids from Metropolis, like all the soccer teams have better like outfits and
Yeah, it's a real Springfield Shelbyville situation.
It really is the thing. Yeah, they do. Like everybody in Metropolis does full size candy bars for Halloween. Everybody in Gotham is wearing Ralph's Florida costume, or Lisa's Florida costume rather. Ralph's Idaho costume, just a piece of paper, Idaho.
We kind of have that dynamic here in Oklahoma City. If you go towards downtown from where we are right now, things get really bright and happy. And then you
Yeah.
go away from downtown, past the Capitol, it kind of turns into apocalyptic wasteland.
Yeah, like okay,
That's a
the
little
rodents of unusual size I've had to battle out there while playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah,
oh, it's
right?
bad. The Rattatas came to life and they came after me.
I also like how this
Headed by
council-
Jimmy. His Rattata is the best Rattata.
I also really like that this council continues arguing to each other, even though they're clearly villainous clowns that just walked into the room in costume, shooting guns at them, and they just continue arguing, even until there's only one of them left, still arguing.
Political commentary right there. Like those clowns in Congress.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not subtle political commentary. Also, we're not getting a lot of water out of each of those guys. And this is the problem. I
So the
understand
Russian
why.
guy is red.
I understand why for the end of the movie we need these particular piles of dust to be color coded, because the mixing up of this dust is going to be significant later. But when you make the Japanese guy yellow,
You did
Yeah.
bad, movie.
doesn't feel good, movie.
No.
Yeah, they can't all be racist necessarily because it's like a complete rainbow color, and some of those colors are just not going to match up. But there's a few of them that could have just been switched. You could
Yeah,
have just switched
you
it
could have
over.
just been like, okay, Japanese guy is
I love that
blue
beat
now.
too. Batman and Robin race into the foyer. They tell the receptionist, lock down the building immediately, and everyone else in the foyer leaves. Did you not understand me?
And then they find the sign in all of the different languages. Up, 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 up. Okay, I did like that
Again,
joke. I
that's a good
appreciated
joke.
that joke.
Yeah.
I thought it was very
Now,
good.
I think I really need to redo a commentary for this film where I do all of Batman's dialogue and like
Leave all the other dialogue alone.
Yeah.
And just redo Batman in like the Christian Bale.
Well,
Shut up,
Robin,
boys.
you see.
Precisely, old chum.
Oh my God. I hate it. I hate it very
That could only be the Riddler. Pass down the shark repellent. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
I want that more than I want most things.
I wish we were
This
doing
is
that
going to be
instead
my
of a
Christmas
commentary
present
for
to you
this
guys.
movie.
I'm going to redo all the voices
okay.
to this film.
Give me a quick ranking of the Batman movies, Sarah.
This is last. No.
This is dead last.
No, I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. Hey, do you remember when George Clooney was Batman for a bit?
Yeah,
the
I like
batsuit
that.
had
Val
nipples.
Kilmer was Batman
The
for a
batsuit
bit.
had nipples.
Listen, I was a young woman who was like learning about sexuality and budding into the flowering hypersexual woman that I would become. So I was cool with bat nipples.
Just insanely out of control,
Just-
hypersexual.
Yeah, I mean, like nymphomania, like crazy. That's not true.
It's like those cult classic movies that
Yep.
we watched in the 60s.
Yeah, I smoked. I did the weed once, and now I can't stop having sex.
Oh, you were the don't do what Donnie don't does.
I did what Donnie Don't
were
did, and then I did Donnie Don't. Hey! I didn't actually.
Okay. Batman rankings. I'm
Batman
going to try and keep
rankings.
you at least on a Batman adjacent topic here.
Okay. Good luck, my friend.
Batman the Jace. Here we go.
I don't know. I think that my favorite one is probably The Dark Knight, and then Lego Batman movie, and then Batman Begins, and then.
You don't have to be like too strict about it, but that's a good top three.
Okay,
Right
yeah.
there, yeah.
And
What do you
then
think of Michael Keaton? Have you seen
I
Batman 89 or Batman Returns?
I don't actually know if I've seen Batman 89 or Batman Returns. I definitely saw Batman and Robin and
Those
Batman
ones are
Forever.
great. Well, you've seen Batman Returns because you know about the penguin from
Oh,
Batman
you're right.
Returns.
Okay, but I must have been like really little is the thing.
Okay.
I was like real young.
Oh,
That
yeah.
came out in what,
We
89?
just spent 5 minutes talking about that movie.
I was 2 or
Batman
3.
89, that was
Vincent is the world's
Jack
greatest
Nicholson's
detective.
Joker.
Okay.
So,
Was the Riddler in that one?
no, the Riddler was in
The
was
one
it
with
the third or
Two-Face
the
with
fourth?
Tommy Lee Jones.
I always confuse
I
those
always
two.
confuse them too.
Yeah.
It was either
That was the
Forever
one
or
where the
Batman
Riddler
and
was
Robin.
played by
Which
Jim
one
Carrey.
was Nicole Kidman in?
I think Batman and Robin, but also possibly Batman Forever because I confused them.
No,
was
wait.
Robin in both of them? Robin was in both of them.
Yes,
right?
Robin is in Batman and Robin and Batman Forever.
It was Mr. Freeze was in Batman and Robin. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, and so was Uma Thurman because it was Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy and Bane.
Right.
Okay.
So Batman Forever. What do you got?
No, that was just awesome. For a second there, Vinton just lost like his podcast enthusiasm. Right. Like I can't muster any like.
I don't know. Like, okay, if you
I
okay,
can only
all right,
talk so
okay,
much about
okay,
Batman Forever
okay.
and Batman and Robin.
Let's clarify this once and for all. Batman Forever came first.
Yes.
Wait, is that right?
2 years previously.
Good
Wait,
Lord. Okay.
what?
Batman Forever was 1995. That's the one with Nicole Kidman. That's the one that introduces Chris O'Donnell. That is the one with Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
That makes no sense.
Okay.
Why would you do Batman and Forever before Batman and Robin?
Right, but there were still like 4 other Batman movies that came after Batman Forever anyway.
Wait,
Batman Forever, it turns out, just a bad title.
Oh, yeah.
like Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Batman and Robin came out in 1997. That is the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Uma Thurman.
Yes.
And Alicia Silverstone
Yes.
as Batgirl.
Yeah, okay. Those I remember very
Yeah.
relative. Okay. Batman and Robin, I remember very, very clearly. I must have watched that one a lot, probably because of Batgirl.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I don't know. If you sat me down and you were like, hey, you either need to watch Batman 66 or like Batman Forever. I mean, I haven't seen Batman Forever in a while,
I
so.
am genuinely surprised by this because I just assumed that Batman and Robin came out first because I assumed that Batman Forever killed the franchise.
No.
It didn't.
Nope.
Inexplicably, we came back 2 years later with what is for me a superior movie. I mean, I don't like Arnold Schwarzenegger in that film, but
Yeah, I don't know if I can say it was superior because
Well, I mean, superior to Batman Forever?
I actually appreciate Jim Carrey's performance.
Jim
While it's
Carrey
not
is actually
good,
great
It's
as
not.
Edward
It's not like.
Nygma.
It's
Damn
not
it, we're
what
gonna
the Riddler
have to
should be,
do.
but-
We really are gonna have to do every single Batman movie, aren't we?
Oh man.
do we want to do that considering how badly this one has gone?
Bat year.
Batman Year One.
It's a Batman movie, then the Batman comic, then the Batman movie, then the Batman comic.
I just did in real life.
I really like that
Little
you're doing
Dick
the Robin.
Grayson.
Yeah,
Yes,
you just
I
got
just
real
said it.
mad. Like, I got concerned. I was worried. I didn't know
It
where
was
your
just for
fist was
emphasis. I've been
going.
watching this movie now, and now I just did yes, fist in the palm. Gee willikers, you guys, we should do that.
Oh, boy.
Have you heard that Joel Schumacher in the commentary for Batman and Robin apologizes for the movie, so that it never should have been made? And he said if you were really upset by it, you can mail him and he'll refund you your money for having seen it in theaters.
Hey, Zack Snyder. Just a suggestion here.
He's like
but,
real classy about it, apparently. I haven't actually listened to it, but I've heard that he just apologizes
what's
thoroughly,
the
takes the
Batman-
blame for everything.
What's the Batman movie after this one?
89.
89.
89?
Yeah, that's it.
89.
Which
Tim
is just
Burton.
Batman,
Yeah, we're
right?
not even talking about the animated movies because that's
Sure,
so
yeah,
complex.
yeah.
But yeah,
Right.
89 is the Tim Burton Batman with Michael Keaton, then Batman Returns, then Forever, then Batman and Robin.
That's
and
so
then we're into the
wild.
Chris Nolan trilogy, which
Which is
such
pretty
a,
good.
Yeah.
Such a weird diversion.
Nathan, a couple of weekends ago, my husband decided that he was going to binge all three of those movies, just one right after the other. And he mentioned that Dark Knight Rises really is just such a disappointment immediately after The Dark Knight.
It's really tough because The Dark Knight is so exceptional.
Yes.
I don't hate The Dark Knight Rises. I
don't hate
think
it.
There's a lot to like about it. It took me a couple of viewings to get Bane.
Yeah.
To like really appreciate Bane, but there's some really deep thematic stuff. This is the thing with Chris Nolan. He tells his stories with a real sense of intent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he is trying to communicate something powerful. And I think that he misses more than he hits in both Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises, but I
Sure.
think they're both very good films. Dark Knight's just a knockout.
Dark
It's
Knight just
just
gets
a
it.
knockout. Yeah.
I remember during the boat scene just being like on the edge of my seat the entire time
Yeah.
and like my nails digging into my face. I was so worried
mean,
and so freaked out.
That's fine. The boat scene, whatever. I mean, I grew up on the Green Goblin suspending a bus full of orphans on one side and, you know, Gwen Stacy on the other. And, you know.
By the
means
way,
nothing
we're
to
finally
me.
in the movie getting the fight words being thrown up, but only like a couple.
Yeah,
Biff,
yeah.
Bap,
Bap,
bop.
We apparently kept this just for the climax, I
yeah,
guess,
yeah.
because we're surprisingly close to the end of this movie, I guess.
In this scene, there is, well, first of all, interestingly, almost everyone gets knocked into the water except Batman and Robin, and they all get back out and keep fighting and are
Yeah.
dry again. But then there is a stuntman who gets knocked into the water, and this water is only 4 feet deep, and there's all sorts of structures down there to
Yeah,
tie different
yeah.
boats and things down. He dived right into one of them and hit his head and gets
No!
knocked unconscious. They finished filming the scene and realized one of the stuntmen was missing, found him in the water, pulled him out, took him to the ER. He did turn out to be okay, but
Oh,
like
thank
he
God.
could have died. They had no idea he was even unconscious in that water.
And credit where credit is due. This is some excellent physical comedy from all of our primary actors here.
yeah.
It's not quite shot like a fight scene,
Yeah.
but it is definitely shot with,
Batman
with, you
just
know, a
saved
sense
the
of
cat.
pratfalls.
I missed that the first time we were watching it. Wait,
Yeah.
is that when he just
Okay.
said
Yeah.
bon voyage, pussy?
Bon
Yes.
voyage, pussy.
Bon voyage, pussy. Because it was 1966. And pussy still meant cat.
Yep.
It was a more innocent time, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say. So let me ask you this, because one of the things that we have loved about Captain America is his sincerity. Like,
Yes.
we play Cap straight in the MCU, and that works for us.
Yeah.
What is the problem with sincerity facing Batman the movie? Because there is at least a critical read of this movie that tells you that we're just trying to assert a kind of heroic archetype. Yes, this is more Superman traditionally than it is Batman, but it's still a Boy Scout character. It's still a hero being gooder than good, whiter than white, doing the thing. Does this? You're distracted by how weird this has turned
Yeah.
now. Because this is the moment when he realizes, holy heartbreak,
Miss
Robin, now is not the time.
Batman's all
Robin,
like,
read the room.
Don't say too much because it might give away my
Look
secret
at him
identity.
staring off into the middle distance.
He's looking into
For
your
so long.
heart, Sarah.
Wow, this is really long if we have this on 1.5 speed. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Say no more, Robin.
Okay, so why
Say
is
no
it not
more.
okay?
It could be compromising because the thing that you're about to say is a major clue to my real life identity. And I'd like you not to say that thing, Robin. Let's keep talking about this and why you shouldn't talk about this in front of a villain. Can we just keep? Because no,
She'll never
but Robin,
guess.
Robin, you need to understand that if you keep talking, she's going to find out that I'm Bruce Wayne. That would be really bad.
Can't be Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne hates bats.
I got to tell you,
true.
I love that beat.
got a
It's not
phobia.
even in the Lego Batman movie, but in the Lego movie.
Oh yeah.
When we have that beat about Bruce Wayne. Ooh, sounds like a cool
guy. I think I want that guy. Here we have the dehydrated delegates, which look like the sugar test tubes that you used to be able to get from Hot Topic that were colored in the same way.
Wow. Schmidler!
Not only did all these sands get mixed together, but now some of these dudes are going to come back with like a glass eyeball or something.
Yeah, that's true.
There's now tiny
But
shards
no,
of glass.
we
in
have the
wasn't
super
following
molecular
that.
dust separator, of course, at the Batcave.
Oh God. Okay.
just such a
Anyway, why does
circumstance?
the sincerity not work whenever it's Batman? I don't know. I feel
Why does the sincerity works? Why does the sincerity work for Captain America and not work for this version of Batman?
Fenton?
Because it's everything else around him that is absurd.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not a man being that sincere in a world that is like dark and brooding or whatever that we see.
Okay.
Is man being that sincere when everyone else around him is giving riddles that don't make sense and sharks are exploding.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's
actually-
read in a
wait.
different light.
I think you just actually turned over the VHS right there.
In a world where sharks
In a
explode.
word where one man is sincere.
I do want to
Sharks
point out
explode.
that we just saw the back of the president there. That was President Lyndon Johnson, performed by Van Williams, who would soon go on to star in the Green Hornet TV series, made by the same creative team as the Batman show.
Yeah, and written by the same guy, just produced by the same production company. It's so weird that was such a similar production because the Green Hornet TV series feels so
Which
different.
just goes to show you that this was actually the purposeful plan for Batman. They
Right.
wanted it to be so tongue-in-cheek. They wanted it to be absurd as possible, to be bright-colored, flashy, weird jokes, and kind of like a psychedelic trip.
Yeah, a
Just
little
like
bit, little
nothing
bit.
else to it except we want this to be absurd. And you have to give it some credit because they didn't know how to do a comic book movie at this time. This wasn't a normal thing to be done.
No,
This wasn't
certainly not.
even in TV shows. In comic books, go back and read the comics from the 60s. They're not like comics of today.
Oh,
They're
I'm
very
sure,
weird.
yeah.
And so when trying to translate that, you could see how they could make this leap and be like, yeah, this seems to be the thing to do.
So, Vin, give us a quick rundown of your favorite Batman actors. Who works best for you? Who is the Batman of your heart?
Well, it's
From our
tough.
live action
Who,
selection.
hey, and then
Really tough.
who's the Batman of your dreams?
Batman of my dreams. Of course, when it comes to the movies, Michael Keaton really did a good job. But
Yeah.
the thing is, like, I can see why people would go, Michael Keaton, why would they ever cast Michael Keaton? But watching that film, he does a really good Bruce Wayne.
think so, too.
He really does. Pretty much after that, everyone after him, I was like, no. You're becoming less and less Batman as it goes. Of course, then you have Batman versus Superman. Everyone was so angry that Ben Affleck got cast. And I was too, because I was a huge Daredevil fan when the Daredevil movie came out and was very disappointed. Didn't trust Ben Affleck to do anything ever again. And I thought he should just quit acting. I was very angry.
You heard it
Hang
here
it up,
first,
Ben.
folks.
You did it. How do you like them apples?
At least for when it came to like serious movies, he's fine in like Kevin Smith's goofy movies.
Yeah.
But then I actually saw him as Batman and I was like, you are doing a really good Batman.
Yeah.
I can't say that he's going to be like my favorite or anything, but he really did a good job there. And I think that he could be maybe one of my top favorite live action Batmans, at least. Of course, Adam West will always have that special place in my heart and not be able to
Sure.
be put on any list because he's in a separate category altogether.
Right.
But that being said, if we're not counting just the live action movies, then Kevin Conroy is my Batman.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
Oh,
no
yeah,
contest
yeah.
that Kevin Conroy
voice,
is
that
Batman.
Even
voice.
I know who Kevin Conroy
Yeah.
is, and I know almost nothing.
It's pretty amazing.
Now-
You didn't mention Christian Bale.
Yeah, I don't really care for Christian
Yeah.
Bale. Here's the thing. I don't even necessarily care for those movies as Batman movies. I like them as movies. I think they're really good
That's
movies.
a
but that
really good
is not
perspective.
my Batman at
Yeah,
all. I
sure.
just don't care for what's happening there. It just seems weird to me, and it doesn't play to what I really like from Batman. And if you're curious about what I like from Batman, read Tom King's new run on Batman.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
exactly what I like from Batman. It's done very well. So, and then of course Val Kilmer, weird. George Clooney, weird. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
These are weird
like George
choices.
Clooney as Batman. That
I don't
worked
know
for
what's
me.
going on there.
Yeah, I'm on record, I think, as being a fan of Ben Affleck as Batman and certainly being a fan of Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
That's a...
I will say that Will
Characterization that
Arnett
really works
does
for
a really good job.
He does, though, doesn't he?
Can we just admit that Lego Batman, like not just the movie, but the character himself, could be one of the best portrayals of Batman?
It's very good.
Yeah. And the portrayal of the Bat family, the idea of community around Batman,
Right.
the irony, the paradox even of this character who is defined by his solitary nature,
Yes.
being surrounded by probably the best supporting cast in comics,
Yes.
is crazy. But yeah, he's just great.
And here we have the joke. The council comes back and they all have each other's different voices. Maybe it's just the languages. Maybe it's their spirits. I don't know. But Batman's like, good enough. Hopefully this brings more peace to the world because now they have a different perspective of each other. Let's sneak out
We sure
inconspicuously.
stumbled into
And
a
they are
solution
not
here,
even
Robin.
sneaking.
Let's
They literally
leave.
are walking across the
Inconspicuously.
room in full view of all of these people.
Look, you're just noticing him because Robin has that yellow satin cape that he wears.
Yeah, the like fluorescent cape
Yeah.
that
This is
catches and
apparently
absorbs all light
Just
in
a
the
room
universe.
that where you can never notice or be distracted from anything. It's a room that I need when I'm doing work because it can be literally Batman and Robin walking across. I don't know this. The police don't know this. I just keep arguing when clowns start shooting guns. All right.
And that's
the
it.
end. The
That's it,
living
you guys.
end?
The living
The
end?
living end?
What does
that
that mean? I
That was
really
not a
need
bit,
to know.
you guys.
That
That's
wasn't
just
a
how
bit.
Sarah
No, we
Vinton
did
talks.
that
There it is.
independently of one another.
So a follow-up to this film, it was at one point considered the film would have been released between seasons 2 and 3 and would have introduced Barbara Gordon at that point and make use of the Batplane. But due to the waning interest of the series, this was scratched. They did eventually come back with the animated movie with the original voices of Batman and Robin for that. And then, of course, they made the sequel, which is about to come out, like we mentioned. That will be Adam West's final performance in a film, final time as Batman.
It's kind of appropriate
yeah.
that Adam West's final performance wasn't some awful, Family
Guy.
Guy pastiche of himself,
Right.
but is the role that defined his career,
Yeah.
Batman, and a role that he did, I think, genuinely beautifully. Like, I genuinely love Adam West as Batman. I think that he brings a real sincerity and heart to it.
I will say, I watched Family Guy as it was first coming out and enjoyed it then. Fell off that train real quick, didn't care ever again. I still look back at the Adam West parts fondly because he did a fantastic job on that TV show.
It's so self-aware.
It
it's
is
one of the few
beautiful.
things that Family Guy does that is properly
If someone could
self-aware.
just put together a reel of all the Adam West moments
Oh,
on
I'm sure
Family
that they
Guy, I
have.
would watch that.
That is
Yeah.
definitely on
That is
YouTube. We're going
definitely
to
the
watch that
only
right after
Family
we
There's
Guy
get
probably
thing
done.
like
I
4
need.
of them on YouTube right
Hey,
now.
Sarah, let me ask you, because we did Batman this week, and I kind of feel that was Vinton and me making this happen, and you didn't enjoy it so much. You get to choose what we do next week. What do you say?
Next week we're doing Black Widow.
Hey!
Which one?
So we're going to be doing the first volume of this trade. It's called Black Widow Volume 1, Shield's Most Wanted, which is, why do we keep giving like all of our MC, like our Marvel ladies, like these mouthfuls of titles?
So this is written by Mark Waid and Chris Samney with art by Chris Samney. It is a vibrant, amazing, noir-inflected book.
It's very
It's
good.
Nat, you guys.
It's Nat.
She's great.
It's
this collects the
straight up
first
Nat.
6 issues of the Black Widow run. You should definitely check it out. It is currently available on Amazon for $5.50, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So go get that.
And this is the creative team that worked on Daredevil most recently to really bring that back up and made a lot of people aware of the Daredevil comics. They did a fantastic run, came off of that, and they really wanted to do something else. And Marvel was like, hey, why don't you guys work on Black Widow? And so that same creative team jumped over there, and it's just as good.
I'm just looking at the Amazon page right now, and the customers who bought this item also bought includes Mockingbird Volume 1,
Yup.
Hawkeye Kate Bishop Volume 1,
Yup.
Mockingbird Volume 2.
Scarlet Witch.
These feel like some of our favorite things. This is pretty good. Okay. Oh, and Volume 2 of Tom King's Vision. Not Volume 1 of Tom
Jeff
King's Vision,
Lemire's
weirdly.
Moon Knight, which I
Yep.
think people should
Excellent.
really be
Jessica
into.
Jones
Jessica
over there.
Jones,
Yeah.
This
This
is
book is
Very
in
good list,
company.
you guys.
Yeah, the Black
Yeah.
Widow Volume 1 that came before this, but one day we probably should cover by Nathan
Oh,
Edmondson.
yes,
Also
it's very
very
good.
good.
Oh, Black Panther, the first volume of Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Panther, which is incredible.
All
That
the
is
comics
such
on
a
this
good
list are
book.
good. Unworthy Thor, Champions, Invincible Iron Man. Oh no, it's Infamous Iron Man. Both good actually.
You
where
guys,
Doctor
comics
Doom
are
becomes
pretty
Iron Man.
good.
Comics are pretty good.
Comics are pretty
This
good.
just reminds me how many comics I want to talk about on this show. Can we start doing this like 3 times a week, maybe? I gotta find a way to get all these comics covered.
All right, so I think that's going to do it for us this week. If you like what we do on this show, if you want to help us do more stuff like this, we have an announcement. Next Friday, the 25th of August, we are doing a live show.
Yes, this coming Friday, the 25th of August at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, we are going to go live with a very special Common Room Live for Excelsior. It's going to be great. It's going to be the 3 of us.
Yeah, we're going to have a party. It's going to be really good.
It's going to be pretty awesome. So if you don't yet support Common Room Radio over on Patreon, then you really should. I mean, you just really should. And then you get to hang out with us on Friday night.
Yes.
And ask us comics questions, ask us movie questions, ask us basically any questions that you
Pretty
want.
much whatever you want. Yeah.
We're probably going to be drinking. It's going to be a really fun
We
show.
are definitely going to be drinking.
We will, in fact, because we're also going to record another episode of Excelsior earlier that day.
Yup.
It's going to be a big Friday, big Comics Friday here at Common Room Radio. So head on over to patreon.com/Common Room Radio. Pledge your support. $1 a month or whatever you can afford helps us keep making these shows and make more of them.
Yes.
And you get access to our huge catalog of live shows and
Yeah.
special, weird, dumb things.
Yeah.
And
Like
many
gag
special,
reels.
weird,
Gag
awesome
reels.
things. The Excelsior gag reels. You're right. I
right.
think we've done 4 Excelsior gag reels, each of which is about 10, 15 minutes.
They're my favorite
So you
thing.
get to go and listen to all the stuff that we usually cut out of the episodes, but keeping the commentary episodes for logistical reasons.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm. 'Cause otherwise it would make
If you want to
zero
hear
sense.
me stumble over my words and forget what characters are,
And beatbox. Let's not forget that.
And just all the sexual tension.
Yep.
So much sexual tension.
It's mostly just you and Bucky.
Oh, what?
That's
Who the hell is Bucky?
patreon.com/Common Room Radio. We thank you sincerely for all of your generosity and support. That is going to do it for this week. Sarah's still laughing, so I'm going to wrap up this ramshack last show. Guys, thank you all so much for listening. Until next time, I'm Alistair Stevens.
I'm Sarah K. Bazat.
and I'm Vinton Bain. And remember, they may be drinkers, but they're still human beings.
Excelsior!